Zelanus stands poised. He had defeated Zegion once, so his attitude was relaxed. It would have been troublesome if Diablo had cooperated with him, but he was confident that he could defeat Zegion even so. Moreover, Zelanus laughed inwardly, saying that Zegion was a fool when he knew that Zegion was going to take on him alone. Killing him in the labyrinth would only bring him back to life. However, if he eats him alive with the Devastator virus. If he escaped from the soul, he would be revived, but he might be able to capture Zegion's power. As Rimuru and her colleagues have feared, they do not know if it is possible to revive a person who has been eaten in the labyrinth, since there is no case that has been tested yet. Because of this possibility, they cannot experiment carelessly. In this case, it was the right thing to avoid such a situation. Yet, Zelanus was going to use such a method. Zegion was his son, and if possible, he would take him out of the labyrinth and make him his family member. He was going to make him swear allegiance to him and make him a new creator god. But it would be a different story if they were to be enemies. Since they still have a pedo, there is no need to be concerned about Zegion. Creating a new family would be a painful task, but with that little pedo as a mother, we would be able to increase the number of strong sons. He would also make his sons compete with each other and bring in their power as well. Zelanus would do whatever it took to increase his power. Son, I will give you one chance. Swear your allegiance to the family and work as my hands and feet. If you do so, I will make you the next god of creation. I refuse. My god is already here. Zelanus' offer to Zegion, which Zegion had offered out of the utmost compassion, was cut short with a single word. Then die. Against Diablo, it was fatal to make a big move because it would catch him off guard. But if it was Zegion, Devastator virus. Zelanus attacked without any need for caution. As if to unleash his left fist, his arm turned into a black mist that clung to Zegion. It was a dark all-consuming hunger. Zegion was helpless, sucked down to his bones. A fighting aura covered Zegion's entire body. As soon as he touched the fighting aura, the Devastator virus disappeared. Zelanus, who had kept his exhaustion low in the battle against Diablo, had now made a big blunder. But what Zegion did was more important than that. Zegion's whole body was glowing with rainbow colors. It was the same hurricane glow as that of Zelanus. Zegion's presence grew bigger and bigger. It was just such a powerful presence that Zelanus could not ignore it. Kufufufu. I see you have opened the door too, Zegion. Of course. Our god is always loving to his little servants. That's right. However, I'm not foolish enough to fall prey to his power. With these words, Zegion took a step forward. The pressure shakes the hierarchy with an earth-shaking sound. Seriously, what is that thing? Pico, who was watching the game, asked Dino. Since Pico, one of the observers, did not know, there was no way Dino would know either. I don't know what to ask you, Diablo, he said, so explain it to me. He involuntarily asked Diablo, who was standing next to him, to talk about it, but he coldly dismissed me. You idiot. Shut up and watch. Yes, sir. Dino had no choice but to back away from Diablo's attitude, as if he did not want to play with him. He's an embarrassment. Dino's friends also reacted sadly. Friendship is so fragile, thought the lonely Dino about the existence of something that may or may not have existed in the first place. On the big screen, Zegion's heroic figure fighting against Zelanus was shown. What's going on? It is a numerically impossible reality. Zegion's existence value had swelled to just under 8 million, by incorporating Vega. As Dino says, Zegion is now fully recognized as a master, and all of its power seems to have been put to good use. Still, it is a far cry from Zelanus. Nevertheless, Zegion did not back down against Zelanus. In fact, Zegion was beginning to overwhelm Zelanus little by little. Well, Zegion knows the power of Zelanus. You know that power, Benimaru? Rimuru asked. But Benimaru is not sure of his answer. It is a power that is hard to explain. Perhaps it is the power that Rimuru lent him. Even Benimaru was aware of it to that extent. Actually, Benimaru is vaguely aware of the existence of Seal and Rimuru. As a result of being somehow guided by the power of Seal, Benimaru's prominence acceleration against Milim became very powerful. The result, however, is that he is now wounded to the bone. The cost of using Nihility Collapse, which even Rimuru had not mastered, was unexpectedly large. The damage could not be healed by recovery medicines or magic, and the body could not return to the battlefield immediately. I don't care if it was Rimuru-sama, it was a very dangerous power for us. Zegion was reckless to have that power in him. Like Benimaru, even if he uses it for a moment, the repercussions are huge. If he continues to use it for a long time, the cost will be tremendous. But that would not be enough to beat Zelanus. Benimaru remained silent, believing that Zegion would win. Zelanus was upset. Zegion, who was supposed to be his son, had shown unexpected power. It had long surpassed Zes and reached a level that even Zelanus could not ignore. The same chills that he had felt against Diablo had struck Zelanus again. He had exceeded my expectations. This is no threat to me. Zelanus is very cautious, so he is not easily fooled, nor does he make the mistake of overestimating his enemy and losing the game. He guessed that Zegion's extraordinary power-up had some kind of a trick to it. Otherwise, there is no explanation. And he calculated that the burden of maintaining such an increase in power would be immeasurable. All they have to do is to fight the battle without exhaustion, as they did against Diablo. Then, Zelanus will win soon. After that, he can slowly explore the secret of Zegion's power. Zelanus, with this in mind, repeats his monotonous attacks without hesitation. Zegion responded in a calm manner, and for a while, a simple attack and defense continued. Neither of them was on his guard, and neither of them made any big moves. It was a mechanical attack and defense that could have been a 1000-day move. Zelanus reflected on the situation. He tried to eat Zegion with Devastator Virus out of the blue, but it was a mistake. He should have weakened Zegion more and made sure to finish him off. Determined not to make that mistake again, Zelanus tries to hunt Zegion down. But Zelanus' silver cilia flowed, and he was about to cut Zegion into tiny pieces, but Zegion's new power, Kuzuha, prevented them from doing so. The pair of wings vibrate at divine speed, shattering the molecular bonds of all matter. It can even be made directional, cutting down anything that comes within its sphere of influence. The silver cilia of Zelanus have been touched by this. However, since Zelanus' cilia were not weak enough to be shattered by the touch, they were only repelled. Still, it was true that Zegion prevented Zelanus' attack. Zelanus looked astonished for a moment. Zegion did not miss the opportunity, and he fired his fist as a follow-up attack. Of course, Zelanus could not take a direct hit, and he evaded it with margin. The fist grazed Zelanus lightly, but it did not even scratch Hurricane's exoskeleton. Cheeky. Cocky. You should know you're shortening your own lifespan by trying to defeat me with such a stupid trick. What are you? Zelanus tried to retort, but felt a sharp pain in his side and jumped back. Void Fistful style killing arts. That was Zegion's response. It was his answer to Zelanus, asking what he had done. By compressing energy to the limit in his fist, Zegion creates the power of insta-kill. Ideally, Zegion had been told, a glancing blow would be fatal, even if it was evaded. Such a feat is an impossible fantasy, but if space-time manipulation is possible, as Zegion's is, then it is no longer a pipe dream. Zegion was able to transmit energy just by making contact with a part of his body. The destructive energy of nihility collapse stored in his fist was struck into Zelanus, who had thought he had evaded it. Then, it becomes a wave that travels through Zelanus' body. Even if the exoskeleton was made of Hurricane, it could not prevent it. Starting from the flank where he had been hit, a destructive energy raged through his body, accompanied by tremendous pain. Zelanus howled. His eyes turned red with anger. It was humiliating. He had failed his son, whom he had thought was so insignificant. In the face of this unbelievable reality, Zelanus was consumed by an irresolvable rage. You are not mature enough to be emotional on the battlefield. Zegion tells him plainly. This is nothing but a declaration that his position has changed. From that point on, Zegion's fierce counterattack began. Clearly, Zegion's power was increasing. Zegion's entire body glowed in rainbow colors, indicating that almost all the exoskeletons covering his body had evolved into Hurricane. The power of his fists is overwhelming. It rips the sky and shatters the earth. The speed of his fists is accelerating rapidly, so fast that it easily surpasses even Apito's divine speed. Zelanus was also amazing in dealing with it, but Zegion's onslaught was divine. The reason for this is that the energy of the nihility collapse was circulating in his body. It was an extremely dangerous power that ran through Zegion's body like blood, a power that could destroy the world if it were to be mishandled. The power it produced was fear itself. Zelanus' reaction speed becomes too fast. Little by little, fist by fist, kick by kick, Zelanus begins to hit, and then, at one moment, the balance is broken. Zegion strikes. Zegion kicks. Zegion breaks. Zegion pierces. Zegion throws. Zegion strikes. Zegion slams them. It is one-sided violence. Zegion, the monarch of destruction, was exerting his overwhelming power. Zelanus' power was real. As the insect lord, he had reigned for all eternity. And yet he was no match for Zegion. No. Zelanus did not understand. Zelanus' consciousness was in a state of confusion, and he could not grasp what was happening to him. Then Zegion stopped. Gapia. Zelanus is crouching down, vomiting blood. Zegion looks down at Zelanus coldly. Zegion is not so naive as to think that Zelanus hesitated to kill Zelanus because he is his parent. It was because Zelanus had treated Zegion and the others as expendable pawns that they had fled to this cardinal world while protecting Apito. He had no intention to take revenge, but since the situation had come to this, it was my destiny. Even though he has hurt Zelanus so much, it is not a mortal wound. It will come back in time. Zegion understood this and tried to release him with all his might to finish him off. With all his might, he tried to unleash a dimensional storm, a force that would bring all existence to nothing. Zelanus did not have the power to stop it now. Wait. Zelanus, his exoskeleton shattered and ripped, his limbs shredded, uttered these words with all his might. Hearing this, Zegion is unmoved. If you're begging for your life, it's not worth it. No, my son, you won. I accept and I entrust you with this. Zelanus entrusted Zegion with his life, the Sephiroth. Since he could possess the power of his household, he could do the opposite. But only at the moment of his death, the moment of his extinction. For Zelanus, now is the time for Zelanus to admit his defeat and transfer his right to be king. It's like a coronation ceremony for a new creator god. Nonsense. I'm offering my body to the god Rimuru-sama. I have no intention of succeeding to the throne. Your ambitions will be crushed here. Zegion responded indifferently. But Zelanus laughed happily. I don't care. Live your life as you wish, my son. I am satisfied. My wish to surpass my parents may not have come true, but my son has surpassed me, and my wish is fulfilled. Those were the last words of Insect Lord Zelanus. Zelanus, who had maintained his vitality through his power of authority, ended the inheritance of his wish, as if to break the curse with his own hand. Foolish. Father, may you rest in peace. Although death does not absolve all sins, Zegion forgave Zelanus. Apito also joined Zegion in silent prayer. The chain of karma between father and son was thus neatly broken.